Okay, good morning. And my topic is anatomy and physiology with pathophysiology of endocrine system. I am Dr. Gerald Dale Hiron, an assistant professor in FUNRMF, School of Medicine and School of MedTech. Okay, this for this lecture, our learning objectives are the following. We will be able to discuss the endocrine glands. We have to define endocrine, exocrine, and hormones. We have to give the hormones secreted and its function. We also have to describe the relationship between the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland. And please take note that the pituitary gland is the master gland of our body. We also have to explain the regulation of these hormones, and we have to list some of the common disorders resulting to hormonal imbalances. Okay, before we start the hormones, let us first describe what are the endocrine organs. So, as I told you a while ago, pituitary gland is the master gland. No, it next should be the pineal gland. At the neck area, we have your two. We have your thyroid, and your parathyroids are found at the posterior part of the thyroid. Thymus, no, it is well developed in children. In adrenals, when you say adrenals, this is also known as our suprarenal. Ibig sabihin, nasa taas siya ng kidneys. And we have two adrenal glands, the left and the right. Also, pancreas is also a major endocrine organ. Its endocrine counterpart is the islets of Langerhans. And this is not hermaphrodite class, ha? Para lang alam natin na ovaries for the female and testes in male, they are both reproductive organs, but also they are endocrine glands. Okay? All right, so generally speaking, when we say endocrine system, these are the function of it. It controls balance or homeostasis. It also maintains water balance. It controls uterine contraction. So, for those of you who do not know uterus is a organ, female reproductive organ, wherein during childbirth, if this uterus contract, it will provide delivery of the baby during childbirth. Okay. Also, a function of endocrine system it controls your milk production, specifically your prolactin. What else? It regulates your ions, such as your calcium, your sodium, and potassium. It regulates metabolism and growth, specifically your thyroid glands. Regulates heart rate and blood vessel and blood pressure. It monitors blood glucose level. Actually, it does not monitor your blood glucose level. It also regulates or balances your blood glucose level, and that is the function of the pancreas. Aids in the immune system, and as I mentioned, your testes and ovaries are not just reproductive organs, but also endocrine glands as well. Okay, so as an introduction to endocrine system, these are the components of endocrine system. It's composed of endocrine glands. They secrete their product directly into the bloodstream. And the chemical signals, these are molecules that are released from one location, move to another location, and produce response. These chemical signals are your hormones. Okay. Now we have types of chemical signals. We have intracellular and intercellular. What are the differences? When you say intracellular, it is produced in one of part of a cell and will move to another part of the same cell. So, in short, one cell lang ang intra, sa loob lang. When we say intercellular, they are released from one cell and then it will bind to another cell, specifically to a certain receptor. So, if intracellular is one, intercellular is two or more cells. Okay? All right, what are these types of intercellular signals? First, we have autocrine. When we say autocrine, same. No? So these signals will be released by cell and they have a local effect on the same cell type. Example of which is eicosanoids. They will be released in response to inflammation and tissue injury, for example. That is an autocrine, same cell type. Your paracrine, on the other hand, they will be released by cells that affect other cell types in close proximity. So a perfect example of a paracrine is somatostatin. Okay, somatostatin. Somatostatin is a hormone that is released in pancreas. So the main function of somatostatin is to inhibit insulin secretion. Doc, bakit close proximity somatostatin? Somatostatin again is released in pancreas or produced in pancreas, same as with insulin. So same organ pero different cell types, pero magkasama sila sa isang endocrine organ. Okay? That is your paracrine. Next would be neurotransmitter and neuromodulators. They are secreted by nerve cells, example of which are your nerve system function. So when we say nervous system, we release neurotransmitter or neuromodulators. Okay. Another type of intercellular signal are your pheromones. Secreted into environment, and they actually modify behavior and physiology of other individual of the same species. Perfect example are women. No, women, they do have their monthly menstrual cycle, and yan ang unique sa inyong mga babae. No, also for some veterinarians, no, sinasabi nila, di ba kahit anong paligo ninyo sa aso ninyo, ang nangyayari dyan, medyo may amoy pa din yung aso. Hindi siya mabaho, pero these are what we call your pheromones. Kahit anong paligo, kahit anong pulbos, kahit anong spray nyo ng cologne or pabango sa mga aso niyo, there is still distinct characteristic ng dog, and that is your pheromones. Okay? And natutunan ko yung term for their dog's pheromones. And lastly, your endocrine system or your endocrine glands produce what we call hormones. And these hormones are only secreted into the bloodstream. Okay? Doon lang po sila nakikita sa blood. Kaya as a medical technologist, if in the future naging doctor kayo at you want to know the level of your hormones in your blood, make a blood extraction. Kailangan ba ng fasting or not? Hindi naman kailangan ng fasting if you want to know a certain hormone levels in your blood. Okay? Now, basically, these are the following classes of chemical messengers. No? We've discussed this one: autocrine, paracrine, neurotransmitter, and endocrine. So let's try to summarize it. Autocrine, meaning it is secreted by cells in a local area, and it influences the activity of the same cell which it was secreted. So same cell, autocrine. Example, eicosanoids or your prostaglandins, thromboxane or leukotriene. So if you look at this picture, this is a chemical messenger. Nag-secrete siya, pero para din sa same cell din. So this is an autocrine type of cell. The next would be your paracrine. Your paracrine is produced by this one. Paracrine is produced by a wide variety of tissue, and this one will be secreted into the extracellular fluid. Now, its example are the following. So, somatostatin, histamine, and eicosanoids again. Based on this illustration, if this one is a cell, this is another other tissue. So they will be secreted, pero not on the same cell ang effect, but on the malapit or localized effect on the other tissue, on its close proximity. All right. This is your paracrine. Your neurotransmitter, on the other hand, they are produced by your nervous tissue, or specifically your neurons or your nerve cells. They are secreted into what we call synaptic cleft by your presynaptic nerve terminal. So, example of neurotransmitters are acetylcholine and epinephrine. So, of course, based on this illustration, nerve cells or neurons, they produce certain neurotransmitter which will have an effect on the nerves itself. Okay, so these are the third chemical messenger. And lastly, our topic for today would be the endocrine. As I mentioned, they are secreted into the blood by specialized cells. So this actually travels some distance to target tissue, and as you all know, blood is a part of a circulatory system. So it circulates in the bloodstream. So dun lang siya nakikita sa blood. So madali lang yan from for example, from anterior pituitary, which is located in our brain. It will travel all the way to our ovaries, testes. That is found in female or male reproductive organs. Okay, example of your endocrine of your hormones are your thyroid, your growth hormone, your insulin, your epinephrine, estrogen. So this epinephrine actually class is both a neurotransmitter and an endocrine hormone. Okay, so both yan. Also, a cousineoids. A cousineoids is both a paracrine and an autocrine. Okay. All right. So what are the components of hormones? So basically, in anatomy and physiology, you have to know the following. Okay. Receptor site. So this is the location on a cell where hormone binds. So as I mentioned this a while ago, nasa bloodstream po ang hormone. So for it to have its target effect, pupunta siya sa target tissue or target endocrine organ, pero kailangan niyang kumabit sa receptor site. So from this slide alone, makita nyo talagang specific ang hormones. So again, receptor site is the location on a cell where hormone will bind. That is your lock. Kailangan niya ng key, di ba? Lock and key. So the key will be the hormones itself. Your target tissues are your group of cells that respond to specific hormones. And as I mentioned, specificity is what is characteristic of a hormone. Specific hormone will bind to specific receptor sites. Example, this is a perfect illustration showing you how hormone bind to its receptor. So this is a capillary. Now, during your midterms, you know this, that the capillary is as a single layer of endothelial cells. No, isang cell lang ang pwede dumaan sa capillary, and this is where your exchange of oxygen occurs. Okay? So sabi natin, bloodstream nandun si hormone. So let's take for example hormone 1 and hormone 2. Hormone 1 and hormone 2, the one that is in blue. This is your target cell. Target cell. So there is a receptor for its target cell, and syempre si hormone 1 pupunta sa target receptor. Specific lang ang receptor na to for a specific hormone. Pwede bang kumabit si hormone 2? No. Kasi hindi siya specific. It cannot bind to this receptor because this is not the target cell for this hormone. Only for this specific hormone, specific receptor, target cell. Okay, so that is the principle of your hormones and its endocrine system. Okay, sa specific hormones lang siya. Receptor. So how does this work? So hormones are secreted directly to the bloodstream, as I mentioned. Now, it will travel to all parts of the body. Pwede siyang pumunta kung saan sa organs, pero pwede ba siyang kumabit? No. It will only bind to the receptor site on the target tissue, and it will produce a response. Okay? So very specific ang hormones. Hindi lang siya basta-basta kumakabit or magbabind sa a certain organ. They will need a receptor site, specific receptor site. Okay, clear? Okay. How do hormones cause change? So the following will cause change. It alters the cell activity of a certain target tissue by either increasing or decreasing cells' normal processes. So as I mentioned kanina, one of the function of your endocrine system is to produce homeostasis. Maintain homeostasis or balance. So, Doc, ano ibig sabihin ng increase or decrease? Now, when you say increase or decrease, as you all know, in our body, anything that is in excess or anything that is less or little will produce a certain response, right? Kaya nga merong certain abnormality na kung saan pag masyadong mataas or masyadong mababa ang certain hormones, it will produce a certain condition or a medical condition. So, as we all know, in endocrine system, we maintain homeostasis. So, para sabihin ni body natin, masyado nang madami ang hormones sa bloodstream, It will now signal, or it will now inhibit a certain organ, telling that specific organ, please stop secreting anymore because we are in excess. Okay? Same with decreasing cells, decreasing levels of hormone. If our body recognize that there is a decreased level of hormones, it will send signal to a specific organ, telling that specific organ, please stimulate more hormones because we are less or little in amount in our bloodstream. Okay? So it really maintains homeostasis or balance. Clear? Okay, pag masyadong madami, please huwag ka na masyadong mag-increase. Sasabihin niya. Pag masyadong konti, sasabihin nila, mag-increase ka pa kasi hindi natin na-meet yung expected na number of level ng hormones because we have to maintain homeostasis or balance. Okay? Now, another changes that happen in endocrine system because of hormones is that it changes the permeability of the cell membranes by opening or closing ion channels. This is very specific to lipid bilayer, no, the plasma membrane. So it's very important that we have to know what type of hormone are we dealing with. Is it a water-soluble or a lipid-soluble hormone, which will be discussed later. And lastly, what do they produce? We have the protein synthesis, and which will be discussed in a while. Okay? All right, so we have two types of hormones, class. It is the water-soluble and your lipid-soluble or lipid hormones. So before I show you this, before I show this illustration, let's define some terms. So when you say water-soluble hormones, these include proteins, peptides, amino acid, and these are actually most common compared to your lipid hormones. Example of water-soluble are your growth hormone, your anti-diuretic hormone, and your prolactin. Okay? So on the other hand, lipid hormones or lipid-soluble hormones, they include steroids and eicosanoids. And a perfect example of lipid hormones are your LH. We call this one the luteinizing hormone. And your FSH, your follicle stimulating hormone. And your androgens. So these are your lipid-soluble hormone. Please memorize these two types of hormones and its example. Okay. Okay. Look at the picture. No, let's focus first on the lipid-soluble hormone. Your lipid-soluble hormone example are your steroid hormone. So please include in this slide another example of lipid hormone is your thyroid hormone. Okay, this one. This is your thyroid hormone. So basically, this is a plasma membrane. Right? During your prelims, it was discussed to you what are the components of the cell. So this is your plasma membrane, this is our cytoplasm, and this is our nucleus. Composed of a nucleus is your nuclear membrane. So why is it that your lipid-soluble hormones easily penetrate lipid bilayer plasma membrane going to your nucleus or your nuclear receptor? Why? Because your lipid-soluble hormone recognizes this plasma membrane as friends dahil they are lipid bilayer. Okay? They don't need any receptor for the plasma membrane for this lipid-soluble hormone to penetrate into the plasma membrane because this is also a lipid bilayer. So it directly penetrates the plasma membrane. Also, they directly penetrate the nuclear membrane. So, in short, the lipid-soluble hormones bind directly to the nuclear receptor. Okay? Now, from this binding of hormone and nuclear receptor, they will produce your DNA and they will produce a cellular response. So, please take note again, your lipid-soluble hormone will only bind to your nuclear receptor. Okay? Because of this picture, alam natin na na-penetrate ng lipid-soluble hormone yung plasma membrane. Now, look at the right side of the screen. Your water-soluble hormone, example, are your glucagon, your prolactin, ano pa daw yung mga ibang example, your growth hormone, and your anti-diuretic hormone. These are all water-soluble hormone. What does it do? they cannot easily penetrate your plasma membrane. Kasi nga, water-soluble sila. No? They need membrane-bound receptor that is found in the plasma membrane. So, upon this linkage or coupling of the water-soluble hormone and a membrane receptor, membrane-bound receptor, they will activate a certain G protein complex to activate the adenylate cyclase, producing ATP from cyclic AMP and in stimulating your protein kinase. Your protein kinase for this water-soluble hormone will produce what we call your cellular response. And this is usually the physiology of water-soluble hormones. This is the physiology of lipid-soluble hormones. Can you spot the difference? This is the lipid-soluble hormone directly penetrating the plasma membrane, but for water-soluble hormone, they need a membrane-bound receptor to produce a certain cellular response. Now, question, water-soluble hormone, kailangan ba niya mag-penetrate into the nucleus? No. This is the nucleus of a certain cell. If this is a target cell of a water-soluble hormone, it will actually produce response in the cytoplasm. Hindi niya kailangan pumasok sa nucleus. But for the lipid-soluble hormone, kailangan pa niya ma-penetrate yung plasma membrane easily and nuclear membrane, pero the cellular response will be acted upon in the nucleus itself. Okay? So these are the two types of hormone. Please take note of the differences when it comes to binding and producing a cellular response. Okay, so let's discuss further a lipid-soluble hormone. So in this picture, now look at number 1. Step number 1 are the lipid-soluble hormones. They will diffuse or they penetrate easily the plasma membrane because this is a lipid bilayer. Okay. Step 2 would be these lipid-soluble hormones will bind to cytoplasmic receptors and travel to the nucleus. This is the nucleus. O kaya naman, they will bind directly to the nuclear receptor. Okay? So again, some lipid-soluble hormones bind to the receptor in the cytoplasm and then they will go to the nucleus. And some of these lipid-soluble hormones, they directly go to the nuclear receptor. Now, once inside the nucleus, look at the step number 3. The hormone and the nuclear receptor complex will they will bind to a certain DNA that is found in the nucleus. And this DNA will serve as a transcription factor. So dito na tayo magkakaroon ng transcription process. Step 4 would be this certain hormone response element will produce or will stimulate the synthesis of mRNA. So this is a single-strand messenger RNA. So from this mRNA, they will code for a specific protein. So the process number 5, this mRNA will leave the nucleus. It will pass into the cytoplasm of the cell and it will bind to ribosomes. Ribosomes, class, they function as protein synthesis, the site of protein synthesis. So it directly synthesizes specific protein depending on a specific mRNA. So during your lecture in prelims, we all know that ribosomes is for protein synthesis. But for this specific organ or target cell, they synthesize a specific protein. And the process of number 6 is that proteins or the newly synthesized protein will produce the cell's response to the lipid-soluble hormone. Okay? So, ganyan ang lipid-soluble hormone. Okay, how are these hormones being regulated? Okay? So, depends, no? Yan. So, first, we have the blood levels of chemical. Question. Pag in fasting state kayo, meaning hindi pa kayo kumakain, anong level ng sugar ninyo? Increase or decrease kapag fasting state?
Decrease po.
Decrease. Very good. Kapag fasting, mababa ang sugar. Paano kapag after nyo mag-breakfast, what will happen to your blood glucose level? Increase or decrease?
Increase po.
Increase. Very good. Busog na kayo. We have levels of hormones that are being regulated during and after eating or during or after meal. Now, this is a blood glucose level regulation. We call this hormone insulin. Insulin, yan, paki-take down notes, insulin decreases your blood sugar level. Okay? It decreases your blood sugar level. So meaning, after eating, insulin will be secreted in the pancreas to be acted upon sa blood glucose level nyo sa blood. No? So, in normal individual, insulin will be increased kasi papababain niya yung blood sugar level niyo. And that is the normal physiology of insulin. Okay? In some conditions, such as our diabetes mellitus, your insulin is secreted din, pero decrease ang levels niya. Okay? After eating, no, hindi na siya merong presence ng insulin sa blood pero hindi masyado nag-act upon ang insulin. Kaya some diabetics, they inject insulin because of the low levels of insulin in their blood. For type 1 diabetics, ito yung mga bata pa lang may diabetes na at wala silang ang problem nila is the insulin itself. Wala silang production ng insulin. So they require exogenous insulin, meaning exogenous nag-i-inject sila ng insulin kasi wala nga silang insulin sa katawan. Okay? Wala silang way para pababain yung sugar level nila sa katawan. Okay? Okay, other example is your TSH. Okay? TSH class is your thyroid stimulating hormones. They signal your thyroid gland to release your thyroid hormone. Now, this will be explained later. Okay? So, ibig sabihin lang nito, one regulation of hormone is that you need a certain stimulating hormone to signal for a specific gland to release a thyroid hormone. Okay? Unlike dito sa insulin or sa pancreas, walang kailangan stimulation or stimulatory hormone. Directly increase because of blood level or blood glucose level. Unlike here at TSH or thyroid, they need stimulating hormone para mag-release ng thyroid hormones. Another regulation is your epinephrine, your nervous system. And during this fight or flight response, epinephrine is released. So, depende naman kung ano nangyayari sa katawan mo. During an emergency or, during an emergency, there is what we call adrenaline rush. No? Epinephrine actually is released into the circulation to activate fight or flight response. And lastly, the last step or way of regulating hormones, the negative feedback. This tells us that body, when homeostasis is reached, depende kung mag-stimulate ba sila or mag-inhibit ng hormones. Depende sa level ng hormones. And that is explained kanina, kung mataas or mababa yung levels ng hormones sa katawan. Okay, this is an illustration showing you how this hypothalamus, no, and the pituitary gland works. So some of neurons in the hypothalamus, they release certain stimulatory hormones called releasing hormones. So these are your thyroid, TSH releasing hormones. Hindi pwedeng stimulating. They stimulate the release of a releasing hormone. So this is releasing hormones. I-stimulate the anterior pituitary to have a stimulating hormone. Release the anterior pituitary. It goes to your target endocrine cell, for example. Okay, target endocrine cell. For example, this is a thyroid gland. So this is your TSH. Kapag may TSH dito, stimulate na yung thyroid gland to release another hormone. This is your T3 or T4. And that will produce in certain target cell. Okay? So depends kung anong hormone ang i-stimulate, anong hormone ang i-release ng target endocrine cell. Okay, so this is actually your hypophyseal or hypothalamus pituitary axis. Kailangan mag-release para mag-stimulate ang certain organ. Okay? Okay, what about negative feedback or positive feedback? This is the complete opposite. So look at this illustration on your left. This is our negative feedback hormone. The anterior pituitary will secrete a tropic hormone. These are a tropic hormone, the one in yellow square. It will activate a certain hormone in the target endocrine cell to produce another hormone. This is your orange triangle. Tapos, what is negative feedback? The hormone from the target cell here, the hormone from the target cell, if it detects a certain excess, no? Masyado lang madami ang nasa blood circulation natin. They will activate now this anterior pituitary to not secrete anymore. So, ibig sabihin, sasabihin niya dito, please mag-decrease ka ng secretion. Also sa hypothalamus, please mag-decrease ka ng secretion kasi masyado na kaming madami sa bloodstream. No, wag niyo nang masyadong i-stimulate yung secretion dito pa lang sa taas kasi masyado na madami. This is our negative feedback. If there is an excessive levels of hormone in the bloodstream. What about your positive feedback? Magkaiba lang sila. Okay? Ng levels ng hormone. So, dito naman, there is still anterior pituitary stimulation, tropic hormone, pero there is less ang hormone dito. So, in the positive feedback mechanism, the anterior pituitary, the hormones in the bloodstream will activate the anterior pituitary to increase the secretion. Sasabihin niya, kaya nga low levels or wala eh. Sasabihin niya, please mag-secrete ka pa anterior pituitary ng certain hormone para mag-secrete ng yung target endocrine cell mo ng another hormone kasi we are little or less amount in the blood. Okay? So again, if there is an excessive amount, you have to activate negative feedback. But if you have little or less levels of hormone, you have to activate your positive feedback. Okay? Okay, so let's move on to, I mentioned this a while ago, no, the lipid-soluble hormones, they will bind to nuclear receptors, and your water-soluble hormones will bind to specific membrane-bound receptors. Okay, and the other is the intracellular receptor hormones. Okay, I've discussed this a while ago, no, the difference between the lipid-soluble hormone acted on the nuclear receptor, and your water-soluble hormones will bind to membrane-bound receptor. It does not need your nucleus for this water-soluble hormone to produce a cellular responses. Okay, so that would be the part 1 of the endocrine system. So before we discuss the endocrine organs, all I want you to know is that endocrine system maintains homeostasis. So when we say maintains homeostasis, ayaw niya ng excess, ayaw niya ng little or less amount. So if there is an abnormality, we will talk about this in a while, but if there is an abnormality, it will signal that the other organs such as your hypothalamus and anterior pituitary to decrease or increase the secretion depending on the levels of hormones in the body. Okay, so let's discuss endocrine glands. So the first endocrine gland would be your pituitary gland. Okay, your pituitary gland is known as your master gland. Okay, they are a small gland in the brain, size of a grape, and they are controlled by hypothalamic secretion or hypothalamus. They are protected by the sphenoid bone. This is, guys, your sphenoid bone, and this is your pituitary gland. It is divided into 2 lobes. You have your anterior and posterior. So look at this screen. This is the anterior lobe of the pituitary gland, and they are your glandular tissue. Okay, they are your glandular tissue. Majority, 75% of hormones secreted in the pituitary gland are found in this anterior pituitary gland. Okay? And the other one is your posterior pituitary gland. This is your nervous tissue. The nervous tissue, okay, this nervous tissue, they don't have hormones. No? The hormones that are secreted in the posterior pituitary actually came from hypothalamus. These are your antidiuretic hormone and your oxytocin, which will be discussed in a while. So these are produced in the nucleus in the hypothalamus. Ang ginagawa lang ng posterior pituitary is it just stores them. When the need arises, it will secrete the hormone. Okay? Hindi sila gumagawa. These hormones came from hypothalamus. So the posterior pituitary gland serves as storage of these hormones. Okay. Doc, kailangan ba natin kabisaduhin to? Unfortunately, yes. Okay? Pero I'll discuss this one para mas malaman ninyo, para mas madaling i-memorize. So, as I mentioned, we have your hypothalamus and you have your pituitary gland. So, this is hypothalamus-pituitary connection. All right. So, in hypothalamus, there are 3 ways on how they secrete hormones. Okay. First is they have direct control by nervous system. This is specifically by your epinephrine and norepinephrine. Okay, what does it do? From direct control by the nervous system, it will activate the adrenal medulla. Okay, they will activate the adrenal medulla to produce epinephrine and norepinephrine in a fight or flight. No, adrenaline rush. So directly, hindi na niya kailangan dumaan sa anterior pituitary para mag-produce ng response. Direct ang control ng hypothalamus or nervous system sa adrenal medulla producing this hormone. Okay? All right. So again, before I discuss the indirect control, let's go to the direct release of hormones. I have told you a while ago that for hypothalamus will release certain hormones, antidiuretic hormone and oxytocin in the hypothalamus. So in the posterior pituitary, they just stored it and it will release in times of when the need arises. So the antidiuretic hormone will stimulate the kidneys, and your oxytocin has 2 functions. In males, it activates the smooth muscle in the vas deferens and prostate gland, while in females, no, it activates the uterus to contract and for the mammary glands to secrete milk. No, activate mammary glands, not produce prolactin, not produce breast milk. Okay, iba ang hormones na nagpo-produce ng breast milk. All right, so again, direct release, antidiuretic hormone oxytocin, direct control by nervous system is epinephrine and norepinephrine. Okay, ito yung medyo madugong part. This is now the indirect control through the release of regulatory hormones. So from the hypothalamus, they will release certain hormones para pumunta sa anterior pituitary gland para mag-release ng ito. Okay? Let's start with ACTH. The adrenal corticotropic hormone is released by the anterior pituitary to stimulate this time the adrenal cortex, not the adrenal medulla. Adrenal medulla is for this one. ACTH will act on the adrenal cortex here to produce glucocorticoids. You have your cortisol and your corticosterone. Okay? Yan ang ACTH dito sa violet, not with the red one. Another hormone in the anterior pituitary gland is your TSH. TSH is your thyroid stimulating hormone, and it will activate, of course, your thyroid gland to produce your thyroid hormones. Okay? Another hormone by anterior pituitary is your GH, or what we know as your growth hormone. It will activate the liver to produce somatomedins, and in this somatomedins, its target cell or target organ is your muscles, bones, and other tissue. Okay, so that is our growth hormone. This is another hormone by anterior pituitary. You have your prolactin. Prolactin activates the mammary glands. So dalawa na yung nag-activate ng mammary glands. Your oxytocin and your prolactin. But itong dalawang to, mas ang prolactin na mag-produce ng milk kesa sa oxytocin. Okay? Prolactin will activate the release of your breast milk. And lastly, two hormones that are released in the anterior pituitary gland is your FSH or LH, your follicle stimulating hormone and your luteinizing hormone. Now, these two hormones will activate both the testes and the ovaries. Now, depends kung male or ovary. Sa female, pag male, they release inhibin and testosterone. But for female, they will release three hormones. You have estrogen, progesterone, and inhibin. Okay? Ano pwedeng tandaan? Inhibins are produced both in testes and in ovaries. Okay? Okay, so basically, this anterior pituitary gland, no, they have this hypothalamic pituitary portal system. Sabi ko nga, the hormones are released into the bloodstream. So look at this one. This is the portal system. When you say portal, it means blood vessel. So the blue circles, these are your hormones that are secreted by the hypothalamus. It will go through your portal system to activate certain hormones in the anterior pituitary. Now look at the yellow squares. The yellow squares are actually your anterior pituitary hormones. Now look at this drawing, the one that is in cursor. The blue circles are your hormones coming from the hypothalamus. So it will act on the anterior pituitary. These are anterior pituitary endocrine cells. So kapag nag-act upon yung hormones galing sa hypothalamus, this anterior pituitary endocrine cell will release the yellow square. And these are actually the hormones that are released by the anterior pituitary gland. Look at the yellow squares. Pupunta na siya sa target tissue or another endocrine gland to release hormones or secretion. So this basically is our hypothalamic pituitary portal system. Okay? Okay. This is your anterior pituitary gland. No? Let's discuss the different hormones and clinical manifestation of this hormones found in the anterior pituitary gland. The first is the growth hormone. Okay, mostly they target a lot of tissues. Example are your bones, your muscles, and some organs. Abnormality are the following. If you have too much of the growth hormone, it will cause giantism or gigantism. If there is too little of growth hormone, it will cause a pituitary dwarfism. Okay? Nakita na ako ng dalawang ganyan, no? If you find a certain individual na nagpo-possess ng ganyang characteristic, their growth hormone is elevated in giantism, and there are decrease or little in amount if you have pituitary dwarfism. Okay? So another hormone by your anterior pituitary is your thyroid stimulating hormone. This thyroid stimulating hormone, its target tissue is your thyroid gland. Okay, obviously, and the function of which is it regulates your thyroid gland secretion. Abnormalities are the following. So if you have too much of thyroid stimulating hormone, the thyroid gland enlarges. Kasi nga, marami kang in-stimulate na thyroid stimulating hormone, marami kang in-stimulate na thyroid hormones. Kaya nga, nag-enlarge siya. But if you have too little of thyroid stimulating hormone, your thyroid gland shrinks. No? Ibig sabihin, wala kang masyadong thyroid stimulating hormone, your thyroid gland secrete too little. So, talagang sinikrit niya yung thyroid gland ninyo, wala nga siyang secretion, kaya nag-shrink na siya. Okay? So, basically, if you have thyroid problem, and then may isa kayong patient or relative na gustong magpa-thyroid function test, please don't forget to request thyroid stimulating hormone or TSH. Okay. Now, this is an illustration showing how TSH works. Okay. So again, from the hypothalamus, it will release TSH releasing hormone, goes to the portal system, it will activate your anterior pituitary to release TSH. Now the TSH will pass through the general circulation to activate your thyroid gland. Tama? Your thyroid gland will increase the release of this T3 and T4. Now, this T3 and T4 will produce a response. These are the following response in a specific target tissue. It increases your metabolism, increases body temperature, and it increases your normal growth and development. Tama lang na may ganitong responses. But if there is an excessive amount, if there is an excessive amount of thyroid hormones, what does it do? It has an inhibitory effect on the secretion of TSH-releasing hormone. It will have an inhibitory effect in the anterior pituitary. So sasabihin nito, if there's an excessive amount, please, hypothalamus, don't secrete TSH-releasing hormone. Please, anterior pituitary, don't secrete TSH anymore. We have a lot. Okay, we have a lot. Okay, another hormones in anterior pituitary are your gonadotropins. And these are your FSH and your LH. Your luteinizing hormone for females, its target tissue is ovaries, obviously, and its function is to promote ovulation and progesterone production. For the luteinizing hormone, or in males, the target tissue is testis, and what does it do? It is for the sperm production and testosterone. Okay? FSH naman, on the other hand, is another hormone secreted in the anterior pituitary. For females, their target tissue is obviously your follicles in your ovaries, and the function of FSH is for follicle maturation and estrogen secretion. So look, ang LH is progesterone production, while your FSH is your estrogen secretion. Okay, your FSH for males, its target tissue is your seminiferous tubules or your testes, and the function is for sperm production. Okay, pakitandaan yung function and your target tissue for each enzyme, hormones produced in the anterior pituitary. Okay, another hormone in anterior pituitary is your prolactin. Your prolactin's target tissue is your mammary glands and your ovaries. Your function is for milk production during lactation. Ayan. So those are the hormones in the anterior pituitary gland. Let's move on to the hormones that are stored in posterior pituitary gland. First is our antidiuretic hormone. Its target tissue is your kidneys. Its function is to conserve water. So basically, abnormalities are the following. Your diabetes insipidus. So in diabetes insipidus, this is brought about by a low or no secretion of antidiuretic hormone. When you say diuretic, pinapaihi ka. When you have antidiuretic hormone, it conserves water. Now, kung wala kang kontrang pang-ihi, iihi ka ng iihi because you have low ADH, your kidneys will not produce large amount of diluted or watery urine. Okay? And the diabetes insipidus can lead to dehydration and thirst. Okay? This is different from diabetes mellitus. Again, if you have diabetes insipidus, your problem is the posterior pituitary gland. But if you have diabetes mellitus, their problem is in the pancreas. All right, another hormone aside from antidiuretic hormone is your oxytocin. So the target tissue is your uterus. Your function is to increase the uterine contraction during labor. No, during your labor and delivery, some pregnant women um, were injected with oxytocin. Kasi nga, meron nga talaga during labor ang oxytocin produced in the hypothalamus that is stored in posterior pituitary gland. But the oxytocin, meron tayong exogenous oxytocin. Binibigay yan sa mga pregnant women na wala masyadong contraction ng uterus. So, tatagal lang yung labor nila, baka ma-compromise yung baby. So, binibigyan ng oxytocin during labor ang mga pregnant women na yan. Okay? So, this is your posterior pituitary. Basically, they have the same, no? Hypothalamus will produce hormones that will be stored here. Look at the red circle. I-release lang po ng posterior pituitary. Unlike in the anterior pituitary na may i-release pa yung another hormone, yung anterior pituitary. But for the posterior pituitary, it will just cause the release of this hormone into the target tissue. Okay? So, storage lang ang posterior pituitary. These hormones are from the hypothalamus. Okay? This is another picture showing you the hypothalamus neurosecretory cells go down to your posterior lobe of the pituitary, and it will go to your circulation, producing antidiuretic hormones sa kidneys, oxytocin level sa uterus or mammary glands. Okay. All right. So after anterior pituitary gland, let's go now to your thyroid gland. Okay. Your thyroid gland is one of the largest glands in our body. Please take note, thyroid gland requires iodine to function. So if you have iodine deficiency, pwede ka mag-suspect that there is a thyroid problem. Okay? Your thyroid hormones, mostly they target a lot of tissues. It regulates metabolic rates and it's needed for growth. Major metabolic hormone is your thyroxine and triiodothyronine or your T3. Now, again, they are composed of iodine-containing hormones. So, I'm emphasizing this because if you have iodine deficiency, no, pati yung thyroid hormones mo ay ma-affect. Now, we have thyroxine or your T4 and your triiodothyronine T3. This T3 will be converted first to T4 to become active at the target tissue. Okay, so the active form of your thyroid hormone is your thyroxine. The inactive form is the T3. So T3 must be converted first to T4 to produce an effect. Okay. Okay. Class, this is your thyroid gland. Here, this located anteriorly to your cartilages. So this is your larynx. So this is your trachea. It is found anterior to the trachea. Your parathyroid gland, they are found posteriorly at the thyroid. So in the thyroid, for example, you have problem in the thyroid, and if you have relatives na nagpa-thyroidectomy, meaning natanggalan na ng thyroid, you have to make sure na ma-check yung calcium level ng certain individual or patient if there will be undergoing thyroidectomy. Because their parathyroid gland that is found posteriorly at the thyroid gland, they regulate your calcium level in the blood. Okay? So, kailangan bago magpatanggal, may calcium level kayo para magkaroon ng borderline or baseline. Sorry. Okay, what are the abnormalities of a thyroid gland? So, please do memorize these two abnormalities. Alam naman natin na pag may excess at may bababang level, they are both abnormal. So, these are your hypothyroidism and hyperthyroidism. Your hypothyroidism, from the word itself, hypo, meaning decreased metabolism. While your hyper is increased metabolism. Ang daling tandaan, di ba? Hyper and hypo. But look at the signs and symptoms of hypothyroidism. Weight gain, no? You have a reduced appetite and fatigue. While your hyperthyroidism is weight loss, increased appetite, and nervousness or palpitation. Now, in here, sa hyperthyroid, sabi weight loss. Sabi nila dito, hyper ang tao, increase sa metabolism, pero mapayat. Okay? While yung isa, yung hypothyroidism, wala nang ang gaano kumain pero tumataba. Okay, that is one clue. Another clue is, or another differentiating factor is your low temperature and pulse sa hypothyroidism. While in the hyperthyroidism, you have higher temperature and pulse. Your skin becomes dry and cold skin sa hypo, while warm and flushed skin sa hyperthyroidism. And the abnormalities we call mixed edema, hypothyroidism sa adults, and cretinism, hypothyroidism sa infants. Okay? We call this one hyperthyroidism in adults, Graves' disease. And this Graves' disease will lead to goiter. Now, don't be mistaken about the goiter. When we say goiter, it can happen in hypothyroidism, in hyperthyroidism, or in a normal thyroid function test. So please don't mistaken goiter as having hyperthyroidism. Pwede din siya mangyari sa hypo and normal thyroid function. Okay, anong ginagawa sa mga may goiter? Sinicheck, tinitreat para magkaroon ng homeostasis or balance. Alright, so again, this is another picture showing your thyroid hormones. I've discussed this a while ago. You need TSH-releasing hormone from the hypothalamus. Go to your anterior pituitary TSH to produce T3 and T4 from the thyroid gland. So please take note again, kapag masyadong madami, it will signal inhibitory hormones. Pag masyadong konti, it will signal stimulatory hormones para magsikip palalo. Okay, another hormone that is found in the thyroid gland is your calcitonin. Okay, your calcitonin, its target tissue are our bones, and its function is it is secreted when blood calcium levels are high or elevated. So basically, your calcitonin will be activated if you have hypocalcemia or decreased calcium level in the blood. Okay? So, anong ginagawa ng calcitonin? It decreases your calcium. So, anong ginagawa niya? It will cause its deposition sa bone, and it is an antagonistic to parathyroid hormone. So, from this statement, if they're antagonistic to parathyroid hormone, ang parathyroid hormone naman, its function is to increase ang calcium. Ang calcitonin naman will function as decrease calcium level. Okay? Huwag kayong malilito. Calcitonin siya parathyroid hormone. Magkalaban yan. So they will only be acted upon or they will be utilized in the blood when the need arises, depending on the blood calcium level. Okay? Again, your calcitonin are produced by your C cells or your parafollicular cells. Again, calcitonin are found in the thyroid gland. Okay, let's go now to your parathyroid gland. Your parathyroid gland are found, these are 4 small ovoid masses that are found at the posterior of the thyroid gland. Okay, and they produce parathyroid hormone or parathormone. Their target tissues are your bones and kidneys, and their function is to regulate blood calcium level, meaning they will increase when the need arises if you have hypocalcemia. It stimulates osteoclast to remove calcium from the bone, and then they will stimulate the kidneys and intestine to absorb more calcium. So, ibig sabihin, they will respond to hypocalcemia. Mababa masyado ang calcium sa blood, so sila magpapataas. Okay? If calcium is low, then osteoclasts will break down the bone matrix and less calcium is lost in the urine. If there is hypocalcemia, parathyroid hormone will increase. But if calcium level is high, these osteoclasts don't break anymore the bone matrix and more calcium is lost in urine. So, they maintain homeostasis or balance. So, kapag na-detect ng parathyroid gland na masyado na mataas ang calcium, wag na tayo mag-breakdown ng osteoclast, guys, sasabihin niya. At maglabas na tayo ng maraming calcium sa urine para bumaba yung level ng calcium level. Okay? Okay, so this illustration basically tells us if there is a blood calcium level impairment or disturbances. Look at the screen. This is if there is blood calcium level that is increased. So if there is increased blood calcium, what will happen? The parafollicular cell will increase their calcitonin kasi nga ang calcitonin will decrease the blood calcium level and the parathyroid gland will decrease its secretion. So again, if there is effect of this parathyroid gland and parafollicular cell, your blood calcium level will decrease and then homeostasis is recovered. Okay? Same with hypocalcemia. Mababa ang calcium masyado. So anong gagawin ng katawan natin? Your parafollicular cells will decrease naman this time the calcitonin secretion and will increase your parathyroid gland secretion. So depende kung ano yung nagpapa-increase and nagpapa-decrease. So what will happen? There is an increased bone resorption and increased uptake of calcium. Thereby, the blood calcium level will increase, restoring homeostasis. So the endocrine gland and the endocrine system is really about maintaining homeostasis. Okay? Okay, so after thyroid and parathyroid gland, let's go now to adrenal glands. So they are located on top of the kidneys. They're also in a suprarenal gland. There are two regions. You have adrenal medulla and adrenal cortex. I mentioned this a while ago. The adrenal medulla has a direct effect from the hypothalamus, producing this hormone slash neurotransmitter, epinephrine and norepinephrine. Their target tissue is heart, blood vessels, liver and fat cells, and their function, no, they released as part of the fight or flight response. Okay? Direct ang activity nito from the hypothalamus. Okay, asan dyan yung... And this is your adrenal glands. They lie on top of the kidneys. Now, from this picture, they are composed of different layer. Hindi natin pag-uusapan yan. This will be tackled next year in histology by yours truly. But if you notice, this is the adrenal medulla. They specifically secrete epinephrine and norepinephrine. Okay? This is your cortex. Cortex is composed of 3 layers. And basically, your adrenal cortex secrete mineralocorticoids, glucocorticoids, and androgens. Okay? Again, mineralocorticoids, glucocorticoids, and androgens. Itong medulla, epinephrine na norepinephrine. Alright? So, let's talk about how are this regulated, this epinephrine and norepinephrine. So, from the hypothalamus, no, bakit magkakaroon ng secretion? If you are stressed, if there is an increase in physical activity, and if there is low blood glucose level. So what does it do? It activates the hypothalamus to release epinephrine or epinephrine, pero adrenal medulla ang mag-release nito. Just the activation of the adrenal medulla. Adrenal medulla now will secrete epinephrine and norepinephrine. At kapag tumaas na yan, these are the following target responses of the target tissue. This will increase the release of glucose, so tataasan yung sugar, increase the release of fatty acid, it increases heart rate, it increases the blood pressure, and it increases the metabolic rate in skeletal muscle. So basically, this is the fight or flight response. Okay? Hindi po hypothalamus ang mag-secrete ng epinephrine, mag-stimulate lang siya ng adrenal medulla to increase the said neurotransmitter. Okay? Okay, so let's go now to adrenal cortex. So from adrenal medulla, let's go now to the outer portion of the adrenal glands. We call this your adrenal cortex. First secretion is aldosterone. This is a type of mineralocorticoid wherein kidneys are the main target. It functions as, take note, it causes sodium and water retention and potassium secretion. Okay, they are indirectly involved with blood pressure and blood volume regulation. So basically, please take note that aldosterone, its function is for sodium and water retention and potassium secretion. Okay? Alright. Huwag niyo i-memorize to, pero please analyze this. Okay? If there is an increased blood potassium or decreased sodium level, these are the stimulus wherein your aldosterone will be secreted. Now look at the green arrow. It stimulates the adrenal cortex to release aldosterone. What will happen in the kidneys? Because of the decreased blood pressure and the increased blood potassium, aldosterone will be activated in the kidneys. What will happen to the kidneys? It will release renin. Okay? This renin will activate angiotensinogen to become angiotensin 1. And then further on, because of this converting enzyme, angiotensin 1 will become angiotensin 2. So sabi natin, nag-release ang kidneys ng renin kasi mababa ang blood pressure. Now look at the function of our angiotensin 2. It is a potent vasoconstrictor. So at this level, first year anatomy medtech student, kapag ang blood vessel mo ay nag-constrict, ibig sabihin lumiit, mas tataas ang blood pressure mo. Kapag tumaas ang blood pressure mo, ibig sabihin nag-respond na yung kidneys mo sa mababang blood pressure. Okay? So if you have pangit na kidney, if you are undergoing dialysis, may basically merong kang portion or at risk na bumaba ang blood pressure mo. So these are the following aldosterone effects in the kidneys. Sodium retention, potassium excretion, and decreased water loss. Okay, please take note of this and this. Okay. Okay, another hormones that are being secreted in the adrenal cortex is our cortisol. Now, this is a type of glucocorticoids wherein most target tissues are your fat, your protein, your muscles, etc. And the functions of your cortisol is it increases your breakdown of fat and protein for energy uses, and it reduces inflammatory and immune responses. So again, your endocrine system not just maintains homeostasis, but also involved in immune responses. Okay, because of this cortisol. Alright, so same with this one. Huwag kayong matoxic pag nakakita kayo ng ganyan. No, may explanation naman dito sa left side. The hypothalamus will release ACTH-releasing hormone. Your anterior pituitary will release ACTH. It will activate your adrenal cortex to release your cortisol. Your cortisol will act on its target tissue, producing the following response. Now, if there is increase in hypothalamus, if there is an increase in cortisol, it will signal the hypothalamus and anterior pituitary not to secrete anymore because we have excess amount of cortisol. Ayan yung inhibitory effect ng excess cortisol. Okay? Okay, and last, hormones that are being secreted by your adrenal cortex are androgens. Mostly, they target tissues. And for the males, they're responsible for secondary sexual characteristics. And for females, they're responsible for sex drive. Okay? Yan. Lapit na tayo matapos. Let's go now to your pancreas. Alam ko, gutom na kayo. Ako din. So, pancreas is for regulation of our blood sugar level. Now, there are different, ito, kung makita mo, there are different hormones that are secreted by the pancreas, but we will only study two hormones. First is your insulin. Okay? They are secreted by the beta cells of the islets of Langerhans, and its target tissues are the liver, skeletal muscles, and adipose tissues. So what are the functions of insulin? It regulates your blood glucose level. As I mentioned, after a meal, your blood glucose levels are high and the insulin is secreted para magpababa ng blood sugar level. Extra glucose is stored in the form of glycogen. Pero kapag in the form of, pag naka-fasting ka naman, this glycogen will be broken down to become glucose. Okay, so ibig sabihin kapag you're in a fasting state or ilang araw kang hindi kumakain or ilang oras kang hindi kumakain, not necessarily zero ang sugar mo because you have glycogen, which is the storage form of glucose. So magbe-break down to para maging glucose when it comes to fasting. Okay? So these are your pancreas, no? Its secretions, exocrine secretion is pupunta yan sa small intestine, pero ang endocrine secretion nila is your islets. This is the islets of Langerhans directly sa bloodstream. Your alpha cell will secrete glucagon and your beta cell will secrete insulin. Okay? Look at this picture. This is your pancreatic duct. These are your pancreas. Diretso yan sa duodenum. Diretso sa duodenum. While your secretion in hormone secretion, diretso yan sa bloodstream. Okay? Okay, this is another picture of your pancreas, specifically your islets of Langerhans. If you notice in this picture, these are, the blue ones are exocrine portion, and this is the islets of Langerhans. Mas madami pong red. So these are the beta cells, which secretes your insulin. And these are your orange. These are your alpha cells, which secrete glucagon. Okay? Your glucagon, abnormalities of insulin. I mentioned this kanina, the diabetes mellitus. There is too little insulin or faulty insulin receptor. So sometimes, maraming insulin, pero hindi siya nag-bind sa insulin receptor. O kaya naman, wala talagang insulin at all. Okay? So the diabetes mellitus, the symptoms are exaggerated appetite, polyphagia, excessive urine or polyuria, dehydration, excessive thirst or polydipsia, and fatigue. Please include in the symptoms of diabetes mellitus, you have unexplained weight loss. Okay? Unexplained weight loss for diabetes. We have type 1 and type 2. Type 1 is insulin dependent. Ito yung wala talagang beta cell, wala talagang insulin. While your type 2 are insulin independent, they are managed or they are found in obese people. This can be treated with diet and treated with hypoglycemic agents such as, if you've heard of metformin, yan ang type 2. But, no, ngayon, ang type 2 is not anymore insulin independent. For the type 2 diabetic mellitus patients na uncontrolled, binibigyan na rin namin sila ng insulin. Okay? Not necessarily oral meds or diet. Pwede na rin sila mag-insulin. Okay, another hormone in the pancreas aside from insulin is your glucagon. Your glucagon are secreted by the alpha cells of the islets of Langerhans, and its main target tissue is the liver. What does it do? It also regulates blood glucose level. So between meals, glucose level drop and glucagon will be secreted. Okay? The glucagon allows your glycogen to be broken down into glucose, and we call this one as glycogenolysis. Your glycogenolysis is the term for glycogen breaking down into glucose, and that is brought about by the hormone glucagon. Okay? So it increases your blood sugar level. Okay. Hindi to toxic. So check natin ulit kung paano nangyayari ang disturbances ng homeostasis kapag may mataas na blood sugar at pag may mababang blood sugar. Kapag mataas ang blood sugar level, the pancreatic islets will detect an increase so that the blood glucose secretion will decrease as well because of the insulin. So what will happen? Your insulin will stimulate the glucose uptake para kunin lahat ng excess na sugar. Excess glucose is also stored as fat. So if you notice, yung mga matatakaw na sabi nila, mataba ka kasi huwag kang kumain ng taba. Not necessarily ganon. Kapag madami ka rin kinakain na sugar or sweet, pupunta rin yan sa muscle or sa fats. Okay? So after which, blood glucose level will decrease and the homeostasis will be restored. How about if you have decreased blood glucose level? Your pancreatic islet will detect a decrease so that the pancreas will secrete glucagon and will not secrete insulin anymore. Kasi nga, bababa na yung sugar mo. So the decreased insulin will result to decreased uptake ng glucose sa muscle. No? It will increase glycogen breakdown or glycogenolysis. And eventually, marirestore na yung blood glucose level at yung homeostasis ng blood glucose level sa body. Okay? Again, lapit na tayo. So these are your reproductive organs as well as your endocrine organs, your ovaries and your testes. For the ovaries, we have estrogens. Estrogen are hormones produced by Graafian follicles or the placenta, which will stimulate the development of a secondary female characteristics. It matures your female reproductive organs and it will also help prepare the uterus to receive a fertilized egg during reproduction. It helps maintain pregnancy and it prepares the breast to produce milk. But the milk production, its hormone responsible for milk production is prolactin. Okay, another hormone by the ovaries is your progesterone. Your progesterone is produced by the corpus luteum. It acts with estrogen to bring about the menstrual cycle in women, and it helps in the implantation of an embryo in the uterus. So we have two hormones in ovaries, estrogen and progesterone. Okay, so please take note of the functions of each hormone in the ovaries. Let's go now to another reproductive organ in male. You have your testis, also an endocrine gland. Testis, specifically you have your interstitial cells of the testes are hormone producing actually. It produces testosterone, which is the most important androgen. They are responsible for adult male secondary sex characteristic. They also promote growth and maturation of male reproductive system, and they are required for sperm cell production. Okay, I think this is the last slide. These two glands are endocrine glands as well. Your thymus gland are located posterior to the sternum or anterior chest. They are largest in infants and children. Sometimes in the adults, nawawala na to or nagde-degenerate na. It's a hormone that is secreted in the thymus here, thymosin, and its function is for immune system development and function. Okay, your pineal gland, and this is its hormone secretion is melatonin, and the function, the target tissue is hypothalamus, and it functions as in the onset of puberty, but mainly the melatonin is for controlling the circadian rhythms or the sleep-wake cycle. Okay, so these are common in students, specifically kapag mga walang tulog, no? Nagpupuyat sila, but during lecture, this melatonin will increase. But for elderly patients, we may give melatonin for those elderly patients na mahirap mag-initiate ng sleep or may mga sleep disorder because eventually this melatonin will decrease in elderly patients. Hindi naman sila madaling antukin pero madali silang magising tapos hindi na ulit makakatulog. Okay, so we can give melatonin as supplement, no, to address their sleep problems. I guess that's it. Thank you for listening. And good luck to your examination.